Hello, I think I am live. Let me just, a little late, let's see, 3 minutes late. I'm so sorry. Let's see. I have a new computer that is good and bad. Trying to figure things out. So I'm just trying to make sure, here we go, that we are live. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, sorry about that. I usually try to do that stuff ahead of time. Okay, so if you're here, say hi. Let me know you're watching. I have some kind of cool tips that I discovered this week as I was making cards with embossing folders. I don't know if you know them, but it's something I discovered, so I thought I would share. All right, great. Okay, I just want to make sure we were still on. Okay, so, this is actually important because I got a new computer and I was trying to transfer everything over. My email is not working today and I'm not sure why. So if you've emailed me, I will get back to you once I have access to it. Hi, Debbie. But if you need to get a hold of me today, Facebook message may be the best bet, or you can even text me. Hopefully I can get this resolved today because I don't like being without email. I don't know why. It was working yesterday and it's not working today. So we'll figure it out. I'll get my son on it too, hopefully. If he's in the right mood to help me out. Sometimes he lets me learn on my own, which is a good thing. But sometimes it's just easier to hand it to him and say, please fix this. All right, so it looks like Debbie has joined. Hi, Debbie and Nancy. Both of you, excellent. All right. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're gonna like what I'm gonna show you. So I actually have a little more space too because my computer setup is a little smaller. So it gives me just a little more space. All right, so I'm going to, just trying to think. I had this set up. Hopefully I have everything I need. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna flip you over and we can start our projects. And I promise you, someday I'll figure out how to stop doing that flip in thing. I know there's a software I have to get, but it's funny, when I started Stampin' Up! Making cards and then I decided to be a demonstrator, who knew you had to know so many tech things, like so many computer things, and then we started filming and it's just stuff I don't understand. But I'll learn, I'll get there. I feel like every time I learn something, then there's more to learn. Okay, so this is not the card we're making, but this is a card that was in my email yesterday. If you received my emails, I showed you maybe 5 or 6 different cards that kind of had the same layout. I had one layer underneath and another one with a circle cut out and then a circle or something there. And I was just making this card. I wanted to use the, I think it's called the Winter Wonderland embossing folder. Has all the different trees. You can think that they're decorated or they're not decorated. You know, you can kind of play it up. And so it's just a fun background embossing folder. And I wanted to, I like to put texture on my card bases. I don't always, sometimes I'll do a layer, but I kind of like how you can see the whole card base. So I was trying to figure out how to get it in because it's this one's directional, and you always want to have the fold go through the machine because if you don't, speaking from experience, they can crack. So I was trying to figure out. So then I said, well, what if I put the whole, where is it? Like the whole folded card inside, what would happen? So what happened was you get texture everywhere, and I kind of liked it. You get it on the back, you get it in the middle, you get it on the front. And I said, that opens up some possibilities. So that's one of the things I'm going to show you today. And I have 2 different samples, or 2 sets of samples I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to show you another, hi Susan, thanks for joining. Another way of using the mini folders, right? Because some of them were designed to go in the mini machine, so they're thinner. But they're kind of not quite the width of a card that we want. So, so I'm going to show you that too. All right. Let's see. I don't want to forget to do this. Put that over here. Okay, so I have to grab my machine. So let's see. So the first cards, actually I'll show you these. They're simple, and they're simple on purpose. I specifically do my Christmas cards on the simpler side because you make them usually a whole lot of them. So you don't want to, except for certain people, you know, you spend some more time on. So these, as you can see, are pretty simple, but I like the texture of the background of the trees. And so I kind of put some stuff on the inside, the same thing. So I wanted to show you, because these are in two different directions, I'm going to show you those. And then, yeah, I think I'll do that first. So I grab my machine. So this is my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which has a really long name. All right, so I'm using Garden Green as my base. And I have, let's see, actually I'm gonna move this for a second. Back where it was. I have two different card bases. So this one I cut so it's like this direction. I always see that fingernail mark, so I always flip mine over. And then this one went in this direction, so I cut it so it's the long way. So they're both the same size, but they're just cut on the different, the length. So I'm going to show you, that's why they're cut separate. So I'm going to put those through. I'm trying to move this, give me a little more room. All right. So the 3D embossing folders, which this is, which I just lost it. Okay, it means it's thick. It's a really thick one. So it usually has more detail. That's why they're thick. So I write 3D on them. So that just triggers in my mind that I need to use the, oh, I don't know what it's called, but the 3D gray platform. So I even write 3D on here. So I know that 3D and 3D go together. So I need the regular base, my embossing folder, my paper, and this. That's it. I do not need, because these things all come with your machine, I do not need the clear plates, and I do not need this little white piece for the 3D folder. So I'm going to put on my base, and I'm going to, so this is the card that goes, is going to go this direction. Have you guys ever noticed it? Someone pointed out to me. So on all of the embossing folders, there's a line, at least the new ones, that, you know, you have your Stampin' Up! Logo, do it this way, and you have a black line. This one on this one, and I think I brought other ones up to show you. You can use those as guidelines. Hello, Anna from Colorado. Thank you for joining. We are making, I'm showing you some tips with the embossing folder. So I'm going to use that as a guideline. So I'm going to put this in. I'm going to line up the edge of my paper with the line, so it helps you to get them straight. Some folders don't matter if they're straight. Okay, and so like I said, you want to have the fold go in first because it will buckle. I've broken them. So I have my white platform, the paper with the embossing folder in this gray, I don't know what it's called, but the gray plate. And it's tough. Did you see, you know, because you have two pieces of paper in there, but it does go through. You take it out and you get this really nice image. And you get the image on all four sides of your paper. Oh, that actually reminded me, I need to do something first on this one. That's fine that that one's not done, but let me put this down. If you want to stamp, you know, sometimes you stamp on the back of your cards. If you're going to do that, you have to do it first before you run it through because it's going to be so bumpy. So this one will go this way. So I'm going to use this limited edition stamp set. And I will, let's see, what size block did I bring up? I brought, I'll just say, it's a Christmas card. Let's see, just handcrafted from the heart. Does that fit on this block? It does. Okay. So I have Garden Green. right, so my card opens this way, so I'm going to stamp it on the back. So you want to stamp it first. Especially if you sell cards. Some of you might sell some cards, so you need, it's called the angel policy. You need to have stamps that have this, the little C, the copyright C with the Stampin' Up. So there's a few of them. There's some that are just plain. So if you have your own stamp, like if I said, you know, hand stamped by Christine, then I would stamp this under it. So this is a good one for the angel policy. All right. So handcrafted from the heart. So that's already done. So now we will, I just got green ink on my finger. Now we will write. I forgot to do that on the first one. All right. So this one's going to go in this direction. Not all folders have a direction. Some of them it doesn't matter where you put them in, but this one does. All right. So I'm lining up with that line and that's how I want it to look, but I'm going to turn it, right, because the fold is right there. So I'm going to go this way. Oop. I'm missing a piece. Okay. So this one, you have the trees and all. It's just pretty just like that on all three. And so there I have it handcrafted from the heart. You can try to stamp it after you do it, but it does have all those bumps. So if you forget, it's okay, you know, but just stamp it after, but did it first. So what I used to do, and it's harder on the direction ones because if I wanted this to go through, what I used to do is I would put it through like this, line up the edge with a fold, and then run it through the machine this way. But look, the trees would be upside down. So this particular one doesn't work that way. So that's what got me thinking that I could just emboss all four sides. All right. So we'll just finish up those cards. And then I'll show you two other samples. I have that one, and then I'm gonna show you how I did the mini card. So I figured I would do a little stamping. All right, so these are my insides. One goes this way, one goes this way. And I decided to use the Jingle, Jingle, Jingle. This is the first time I've used it. It was actually the first Christmas set that I decided I wanted to get, and this is the first time I'm using it. So I'm gonna use that, and it's it's 2 stamps for each of them. So it's called 2-step stamping, right? You stamp one and then you do the second step. You can stamp inside. So, but you could also, because it's an outline, you could color it in with markers or pencils. You have some options. All right. So I'm gonna stamp it on both of them. I just like the shapes of the letters. I'm a big font person. Like if there's words that have fonts I don't like, I won't get them. I definitely am partial to fonts that are pleasing to my eye. All right, so this one, I'm actually gonna use a stamp pad. All right, so Jingle, 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 Jingle. This I'm using Cherry Cobbler. So I'm gonna line it up. I have to push it closer to my face so I can see, but it will line up right inside. So sorry if my head's in there. Let's see how that, ooh, and I just moved it. It lines right up in there. You could try coloring each one with a marker. Sometimes the photopolymer don't color quite as well with the markers, with the blends, but you could certainly just color in the letters with blends markers. I'll have to play with it a little bit. You could stamp them and then cut them out. But it's quick. It looks like a lot of detail, and you saw really it's just kind of 2 passes with a stamp. And then it has another one that says all the way. So Jingle all the way. I'll do this with the garden green. It kind of dresses it up a little bit. Hello, Val. Thanks. Oh, you're joining on your birthday. Everyone wish Val a happy birthday. Thank you for joining. All right. So, and these are just, oh, actually, I did have something else I was going to show you. So I did a similar card, which, oh, I didn't think to bring up. When I did the Scotty Dog class earlier this summer, we had a similar-ish card. I'll post the two differences. But I used the green background with the dog and the craft tag. So that's kind of where I took this from. And I already punched my dogs. That's what I love about this set is you have a punch and it's like instant, right? Instant, quick are your dogs. But what I did to make it the jingle to go along, I just lost it. So the theme of the jingle is I have these, they're called flat jingle bells. And they're flat on one side, and then they have the little jingle bell on the other. And so we'll see, maybe I'll just make one for now. And what I did was I used linen thread, which is pretty, but it actually kind of looks nice with the red. So I colored it with, this is one of my blends markers that has kind of a not so good tip. So I used it to just color my linen thread. And you can do this with almost all ribbons. You can do it on the twines and the threads with the blends markers. You can also, just know that you're going to get red on your fingers. You can also use a sponge dauber. So if you hold, so pretend that's open. And if I held this and I had a sponge dauber on my finger and I put it in the ink and I held my sponge dauber and you pull it through, you can get ink on your twine that way too. That works out pretty good. All right, so I'm just gonna make, oh no, I have to tie it on here first. There you go, you're getting some birthday wishes, Val. I have to tell you, honestly, my card has not been mailed to you yet, but it will be mailed tomorrow. Just extends your birthday. All right. So let's see. No, I was gonna see if I could scooch it down to use less thread, but I'll just worry about it later. All right, so I'm just making a bow. I just tied the linen thread through the loop. I'm gonna cut and cut. I'll just put one of these together. And see, you got a little red on your hands. Not too bad. All right, so I'm just going to glue the dog on. This really is quite an easy card, so I encourage you to copy it. Uh-oh, my glue has a clog. I'm afraid to squeeze too hard because it's all going to come out. And I didn't bring another one up. I know there's a clog in there. Here we go. Yep. Okay, that is like way too much glue. So what I'm gonna do is use my silicone mat, take some of it off. That is like way too much glue. That's still leaving a lot of glue. All right, so then to put your little flat jingle bell on, I'm just going to use a glue dot. So I'm just going to put a glue dot on that flat piece. So sometimes I even just put it on here, stick it, and then it's on there, and just put it on the dog. So it really dresses up the dog. I'll do this one later. Look at that all glue coming out. And then we'll just put it on this one. So the glue, you have to, you can't leave the cover off too long because then you get a little clog, so that's what happened with mine. That on there. And then the jingle all the way, put that on there. So it is bumpy. So you don't want to be too skimpy with what if you're using the seal or your old snail or whatever. Again, I just always use glue, so that's plenty, because it has those bumps in there. But I'm really happy with the look because you have all this texture on all sides. All right, so that was one trick. Move this stuff out of the way. And I'll show you two other cards that use that same process. Okay, I made a mess. So I will admit to you, I ordered this by accident, this paper. It was part of the paper share, but I ordered extra by accident. And it wasn't my favorite. But I've been changed. So it has little gnomes, and I didn't buy the stamp set that went with it or the dies. It has little mushroom thingies. Oh, glad value. So I'm just looking at the comments now. You've been celebrating all week. That's how you should celebrate your birthdays. There's some snowflakes. There's some mountains. More snowflakes. Some more gnomes. The moose. Actually, I really like those graphics. But it was, overall, it wasn't something that kind of spoke to me. And I did receive these, I don't know, Stampin' Up! Was doing something that if we ordered something or participated in something, they sent us gems early, and they go with the gnome set. And I really like the colors. So I was playing with this technique of doing the whole paper in the embossing folder. So I ordered, I actually can show you, this is the Woodland. I think that's what it's called, the Woodland embossing folder. And this actually is one of the free ones with Celebration. I should move this up because I'm off screen. Celebration added on extra stuff because some of the things sold out. And so some of the folders are on there. So I brought them all up for you to see, but the Woodland is one of them. So it looks like just grains of wood, which I'm all over. I love it. So that one is a $100. No, maybe it's not. Never mind. They're all for $50 orders. The Woodland one, the gingham, which I've used lots, and the seashells. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but it's seashells. So all three of these are free with a $50 order. So anyways, I was playing with that one, the wood one, and I'll show you what I came up with, and now I'm loving it. I'm really happy with the gnome. So I made this one first, and I used, for the first time, this snowflake paper, snowflake specialty vellum, and it has, it's almost like that white flocking. It's vellum, but then it has like snowflakes, or these could be polka dots or snowflakes. You get, I think you do get 2 sheets of each. I think there's, but then you also get the iridescent ones. So you get 2 sheets of each of those. Yeah, so those are the 2 patterns. So big snowflakes, the dots of the vellum, on the vellum. So I made this one first, and I just cut out the gnome with my scissors, and I put the glue on the backs of the polka dots, but then I don't know if you can kind of see, I could see the glue. So I'm like, well, I wasn't happy. So then I cut out some snowflakes from a dies I had in, and I really liked it. But what I did was the same thing. So hopefully you can see the wood grain is on all sides. So I did the same thing. I put the folded paper in my folder that I put down somewhere, and ran it through my machine. And this one is much more subtle. You can kind of see, much more subtle than the trees. And then this is the second one that I came up with. And I really like it. So, and I just decorated that one. So you really kind of do need some paper on the inside to write your greetings because it's bumpy. But sometimes it's fun to dress up. I just did more snowflakes on the inside. So that's with that same technique. So these guys are done the same way. Okay. So this other card I wanted to show you is this one. Kind of doing all green cards today. So this was done with, I lost it. Here we go. It actually comes in a 2-pack. Here we go. So this embossing folder comes with the snowflake and the evergreen. And I think it's called Wintry 3D. And they're designed for the mini machine. Right? So the mini machine has their plates are like much more narrower. So they have the same thing though as the other one, that gray one. So you would, and these happen to be 3D also. So this one's just thinner. So you would put your plate, you'd put your paper in there and run it through. So that stuff I already did. But what I want to show you is, because it's thinner, how I kind of splice them together so you can't tell that it wasn't one big one. A lot of words to make my point of putting two pieces of paper together. All right. So I have some of these pieces already done. And actually, I'm going to show you another trick too with the vellum. All right, so I have it so it opens up like that. Again, I like when they're the landscape position, I like to cut them this long way. They're 4 1/4 by 11, because I just think they sit on the table or mantle or wherever someone puts them a little bit sturdier than if they were like open this way. I think they kind of tend to flop a little bit. So that's why I cut it this way. So this is Evening Evergreen. And I have 2 pieces of, I use Mossy Meadow for my folder. And what I did, so here's the folder. I just measured, I just took my ruler. I kind of decided, because we're hiding it with a ribbon. So I said, well, whereabouts? I didn't really want it directly in the middle. I wanted it down a little bit lower. So I said, well, how about on the 2 1/2 mark? So that's what I did. I cut this one at 2 1/2, and I cut this one at 1 1/2. So that equals 4 inches, which is what I want for my the thickness of the layer. And I ran them through the machine. So I already did that part for you. This one went through, and then this one went through. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it over, put them together. And maybe that wasn't 2 1/2. 2 1/2 and 1 1/2. But it looks like it might be a little thick, so I might have to trim it. I'm going to glue that one down. Yeah, I'm going to trim mine a little bit. Just a hair. So as you figure out, as you're putting them together, what thickness you want, depending on where your seam is going to be. So my seam was right here, and you could cover it up with paper, you could cover it up with little cutouts, whatever. I just happen to cover mine up with ribbon. There we go. All right. And then just make sure when you put them down, you have both. So in this one, like this branch is sticking up, whereas that it's going down. So just make sure they're in the same direction. That would be a giveaway that you put paper together. All right, we have more people. Hello, Pam from North Carolina. It's your first time. Hey, thank you for joining. I try not to ramble, but I think I've been rambling a little bit today. But I will, I'll show you kind of what we've done at the end also. So I'm kind of splicing these together. So if you did your little greeting, you know, that's a pretty card too. But I just wanted to show you that you could kind of splice together. For some reason, my Mossy Meadow paper, whenever I cut it, has all these like fibers. I got some sort of batch of paper that's fibrous. It's not going to matter because we're going to put ribbon on top of it. But I was doing another project and I noticed I even changed my blade. All right. So we're just, I'm not even worrying about matching up anything because these ones are just evergreen. So who cares what direction they go in. So there's my seam, which isn't horribly, you can kind of see it, but it's actually not awful. But what I'm going to do is cover it with this gold ribbon. So I could have wrapped it all around and tied a bow, but I decided not to do that. So I'm just going to cut it. So it's just going to lay really on top. You could use a strip of paper. You could use, I don't know, what else could you use? And I'm also going to use tear and tape. And I'm going to put it actually right on top of my seam. So my ribbon is going to stick right to it. So what I discovered with this tear and tape, because it's all embossed and textured, it's a little hard to peel because it's stuck to my paper. Actually, I want tweezers, but I don't see them. I'll use this. So just be careful when you rip it up, because I ripped up my other one and it ripped up the paper. Okay, so that actually came out pretty good. And then I'm just going to stick my ribbon right on top of it. So no seam. So it looks like it's one piece of paper. So sometimes you can do that, like if you have scraps of pattern paper. It depends on the pattern, like polka dots or some pattern that doesn't have to line up flowers, and you only have pieces. You could splice them together like that. All right, so then I'm just going to finish up my card. So I already cut out this from, what was it called? The Forever Ferns one. Flourishing Ferns, I forget. I use this piece a lot. I like it. All right, I need to remember to bring up more glue. We'll make it through, but barely. All right, so I'm just kind of dotting. Again, because this has some texture, so I have to put more than I probably normally would. And that's just gonna go on there. That last night too. It lifted up and then you could see the glue. All right. Hello, Paula from Ohio. I love how we have people watching from all over the place. I live, since this is your first time, I live in Massachusetts. You may or may not be able to tell by how I talk. I say that with a laugh. Okay, so here's a trick also, which I discovered. Remember going back to this card that I showed at the very beginning. This card was in my email yesterday, and I had different designs of the same kind of template. And then this is where I discovered that you could run a whole piece of paper, folded piece of paper, through the with the embossing folders, and you got the texture on all sides. I haven't finished the inside. You guys only saw the front. But I used this vellum circle, and I kind of raised it up a little bit because if it was too flat, I thought with the candy canes it would be harder to read, but with it raised up, kind of had the candy canes in the background, but not as vibrant. So I had to figure out how to make that work, right? Because you can always see the adhesive through the vellum, so you kind of have to hide it. So this is what I came up with. I'm going to show you with this one. So I did it with this, and it worked. So I already cut my circle, and I already embossed the Joyful Wishes. And so I'm going to have it go right here. But I don't want to put, sometimes you hide the glue behind the words, but I have a lot going on there. And so again, I want it kind of raised up a little bit. So what I did, this is really where I want my tweezers. But I don't see them. So we're going to use, oh, I can use this. I'll use this side. All right, so these are gems. I'm going to decide, I'm just going to actually copy, but I'm going to decide kind of where I want them to be on here without sticking this down. I just kind of figured, I know this is not holly or holly berries or the holly leaves, but it resembles holly, and I figured there's a little artistic freedom. Oh, this one's stuck there. So I'm pretending these are like holly berries. All right, so that's kind of where I want those to be. So now I'm going to flip that over. And now I have more places to kind of hide adhesive. So what I'm going to do is actually put gems on the back sides of where I put the gems already, because this is going to give a little bit of dimension. So I have 3 points of sticking, which is plenty. Oh, your mom was from New Bedford. I went to college at UMass Dartmouth, which is right next to New Bedford. So it's about an hour away. I live on the South Shore. It's about an hour. I live kind of in between Plymouth and Boston. But it's beautiful down in New Bedford area, down the Dartmouth and Fall River. That's very cool. All right, so here, those are the back side. Now I'm going to put glue dots on top of the gems. So this is how it's going to stick to the card, and you're not going to see it. I can't even find the glue dots on here. What do you think? As a person when I used to teach classes in person, she would say, "Did you make this up with your own brain?" I said, "I did." So this is totally up with my own brain. I don't know if anyone has ever done this before, but it works. So now I'm going to push on those dots, and so now it's raised, and so you can kind of see through it, but really you're seeing the words with a little hint of the greenery behind it. So that's how I came up with kind of that adhesive trick. So feel free to use it. Thank you, Nancy. I was very happy with myself last night or yesterday when I came up with it. Oh, and I'll just put this on the inside because again, oh, this one doesn't have the 3D raise, but it's such a dark color that we need to put something. Oh, I need more glue. Here we go. I always shake. There's always seems to be more in there, but you just have to shake it. Shake it out. All right. Yeah. I kind of like this card. Again, a little bit simple, but elegant. Not, and you could definitely assembly line these, right? You would do all your cuttings, and then you'd run all the evergreens through your machines, and then you would emboss all your circles. So you could kind of do in piecemeal and get them all done, but it's pretty impactful, but really not that hard. All right. Excellent. Oh, I'm glad you like it. All right, so let me show you kind of a wrap up of what we did in my mess here. So I showed you, I'll just leave one of those out. We did this one, which had the embossing on all 4 sides. Oh, that's the one that didn't have the words on it. Oh, I don't know where that one went. And then I had the gnomes. Here we go. Here we go. So if you want that on the back, stamp that first before you run it through. Then we have these cute gnomes, which I'm starting to fall in love with. That's what happens, right? When you see someone do something that you didn't think you liked, and then you really like it. So those are the 4 cards. And the other thing I wanted to show you is, let's see, yeah, okay, we can see. Everything's gonna fall off the table. So as I said at the beginning of the live today, my email's acting kind of wonky. So if you need to reach me, Facebook message me or send me a text or a phone call. And then I will figure it out. I got a new laptop, which I'm really happy with. However, my email's not working. All right, so this is the last thing I wanted to show you, having nothing to do with this. I'm having my August special, and so I just wanted to show you, and I know I showed you last week, the card. So if you place a $100 order in August through me, I'm going to send you, I have it written up right here, I'm going to send you a pack of festive gems. They're red, green, and gold, and silver, I believe. A Wink of Stella glitter pen, and an exclusive tutorial, so it won't be found by anybody except for who I send it to, for this card and envelope. Plus you choose your celebration items. So you can choose you can choose 2 embossing folders, the ones I showed you today, or there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can choose from. So here's the card. This is the envelope I made, and I'll show you how to make it. And it clips under, tie it closed with a ribbon. I would not mail this, I would hand deliver this one. So that kind of made this a wedding card, but you can make it into whatever you wanted. And you can, you don't have to use the papers I used. Actually, I'm going to probably use other papers in the sample. I'm going to show you other ways of doing it. But I'm going to show you how to cut and fold and do the angles. But this is the card. So just open it up. This one also closes with a ribbon. And it's like a 4-panel card. So what I'm going to show you is how to, because it's actually 2 pieces of cardstock. And I'm going to show you how to cut the angle. I'm going to show you how to cut the angles of the designer papers. And then and where to score. And so this, oh, I didn't bring the other piece. I'm going to cover this. This is the back. I'm going to cover this, but I actually made a mistake on this one. So I want to point out my mistake and show you what I did and how to fix it. We're just going to put paper on top of it. No one will ever see the mistake, but I'd like to show you my mistakes. So this is the exclusive tutorial, how to make this 4-paneled angle card and envelope. So that is my August special. Yeah, so we have about a week or so left, right? Thereabouts, I don't know. I'm all mixed up. I brought my daughter to school last week and now I feel like summer's over because she's not here. All right, I think that was all I had to share with you today. Oh, I can't even, oh, there's my clock. I have to get used to this new computer. Oh yeah, so it's kind of a long one, so I did ramble. Sorry about that, but hopefully you liked the little technique with the embossing folders. I think it opens up a lot of possibilities of putting the whole card through and getting the texture on all 4 sides. I think it's just kind of fun, and I haven't seen it anywhere, so something a little bit different. Alrighty, it was very nice to meet you, Pam. Thanks for joining. I do these just about every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time. I've been doing them since November. I was talking to my brother earlier today. I can't believe I've been doing these pretty regularly since November. And I don't foresee any Wednesday coming up that I'll miss. So pretty much Wednesdays at 2. And then I love ideas. Definitely give me ideas, or if you have questions, and because I always want to know what you guys want. I want to teach you guys stuff. So thank you. Thank you, Susan. That's very sweet. So I will see you all next week. But again, don't forget, if you want to participate in the August special, there's, I don't know, a week or so left. Haven't filmed it yet, but I will email that out to everyone with access to that. And then I will order these on September 1st and get those out to everybody. I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, give me your ideas. And again, my email's not working today, so either write something in the chat, the comment section, or Facebook message me or text me, and I'll get back to you. But hopefully I'll get this squared away, because it's, yeah, now it's telling me. Okay, anyways, have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.